Let's look at the notes for today. So this will be on Google Classroom or it's on paper. So if you're in class, you can close your computer screen because we're not using the computer today. Save your battery. We are going to be taking notes. I need y'all to get quiet. On solving quadratic equations. So this is our last little bit of quadratic equations, quadratic functions. So one thing we want to look at is knowing our standard form of quadratics. It's y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So you may be asked to solve this where it says y equals, or it could be solve the equation where you have it equal to 0. So when we're looking to solve a quadratic equation, to solve means to find the 0, which we can do that on the graph, and there may be more than one. Solution, root, which are all called, or x-intercept. So a quadratic equation could have one solution, two solutions, or no solutions, just depending on how it crosses the x-axis, what your x-intercept is. So there are a few different ways to solve quadratic equations. So the first one is U-Substitution if you're given answer choices. Number 2 is solve the equation by isolating the x value. You can use the zero product property or the square root property. The zero product property is whenever you have, if it says x plus 2 times x plus 1 equals 0. This is when you would use the zero product property. Product means the solution to a multiplication problem. These are being multiplied to each other. If something equals 0 when it's multiplied, that means one or both of them are equal to 0. So we would actually have two solutions. We'd say x plus 2 equals 0 and x plus 1 equals 0. And we would solve those equations. These are just one-step equations, super easy. So we would set equal to 0, subtract the 2, and we get x equals negative 2 on that first one. And then on the other one, we would need to subtract 1 to both sides, so we get x equals negative 1. So your two solutions are negative 2 and negative 1. And that is the zero product property. Don't need to know the name. Just know that if you have two, these are called binomials, which we'll learn more about tomorrow. If you have two items that are in parentheses with terms, you would set each of those equal to 0, and those would be your solutions. Okay, the other one is the square root property. If we have x squared equals 36, then we can solve that by looking for what number squared gives us 36. 6. So what we're really doing is we're undoing that squared. To undo a squared, you take the square root. And so we get x equals 6, but also what else squared gives you 36? negative 6. Because negative 6 times negative 6 also gives you 36. So the square root of 36 is actually plus or minus 6. Okay, the third one, rewrite the equation with all terms on one side and set equal to 0. Then graph the quadratic function and find the x-intercepts. That would be another way to solve it. We've done this several times, putting into y equals and doing that function second trace and then doing the 0 with our calculator. And then our last way to solve is by using the quadratic formula. So this is a formula that is on your formula chart that you'll have for your EOC. So see how it has it right here. And this is where you plug in an A, a B, and a C from your standard form from here. So it needs to be written in standard form. And then you'd use the coefficients A, B, and C to plug in. Have we talked about what plus minus means? What it means is you actually have two different solutions. It means that x equals negative b plus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And x equals negative b minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So see how you have both solutions? So in math, mathematicians like to write it in a simpler shorthand way. So that's why they use the plus minus symbol. But it really means you have two solutions, one that has the plus and one that has the minus. Our calculator won't do plus minus, so that's why you have to do it. You'll do it two separate times. All right, so let's look at the examples we have here. Number 1, what are the solutions to this equation? All right, let's look at our answer choices. Which method do you think we should do to solve this? Substitution. Let's look at this answer choice. It says 7 plus or minus square root of 32. So that actually means we're going to use 7 plus square root of 32 and 7 minus square root of 32. So that has to be substituted in for x. So let's practice putting that in. So everybody get your calculator. When you substitute it in, put it in parentheses. So we'll put 2, parentheses. Then we're going to replace x with 7 plus square root of 32. So we need to do a parentheses again. 7 plus square root 32. That's my x value. And you have to arrow over to get out from under that square root. So see how I arrowed over? And now I'll put the closed parentheses. Now I'll put minus 7, close parentheses, squared. And I want this to equal 32. y'all check each other at your table. Show each other what you put in. Make sure you all put it in correctly. If you didn't, y'all help each other. And it equals 64. So do we even have to plug in this other one? So we know A is not it. So then the next one, I'm going to plug in positive square root of 65 and negative square root of 65. So 2 parentheses. I need to put in square root of 65 minus 7 squared. Y'all check each other, see if you did it correctly. So that one came out to be like 2.3. And it's supposed to be 32. So we know that's not it. And now plug in 3. Plug it in. Oh, that one worked. Now we need to check 11. And that one works. And just for fun, we'll do the other one. 1 minus 7 squared. That equals 72. So we know that that's not it. So C is the correct answer. All right, go ahead and do number 2. How do you think you should do the second one? Yeah, let's use substitution since we're given answer choices. So I'm going to pause it so that you can do that one. Let's see how you did. So whenever you substituted in, what did y'all get as your answer? G? Okay, G is the correct answer. If I do 3 times a negative 6 squared plus 15 times a negative 6, it equals 18. So negative 6 works. And then let's say I want to use this same thing. I want to put in a 1, but I want to take out that negative. I can hit this button, delete, and put a 1 on top of that 6. Delete the negative, put a 1 on top. It also works. So G is the correct answer. Okay, let's look at number 3. Ooh, this one is ugly. Look at those answer choices. What are the solutions to the equation x squared minus 4x equals negative 1? How do you think we need to solve this one? We could do substitution. How about I show y'all how to do the quadratic formula on this? Since we've seen the formula, let's use the quadratic formula, and then you can use substitution to check. So go ahead and write quadratic formula up here. And it's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So we need to have it in standard form. So right now it's not. So we need to move this 1 to the other side. So we put plus 1. And it's x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 0. So when we use the quadratic formula, we need to know what the a, b, and c is. So a equals the number in front of x squared, that'd be 1. B equals the number in front of x, -4. And c equals 1. Write down your a, b, and c. So now we do x equals, we're going to follow the formula and plug it in. -b. So right now we have -4. So it's -4, which that's going to turn to a positive. Plus or minus square root of, let's put this in parentheses, -4 squared minus 4 times a times c over 2 times a. We are just plugging in a, b, and c. So let's look at our answer. Let's look here. Plus, minus, minus. So that actually equals 4 plus or minus. So I'm going to put, see how our answer choices have square roots still underneath that square root? So the only thing I'm putting in the calculator would be this. And I have to put it in with parentheses. So -4 squared, which is right here, minus 4 times 1 times 1. We can do it in our heads if we'd like or work it out. I'm choosing to do it in the calculator though. So that equals 12. And we're going to keep it under that square root. So square root of 12 over 2 times 1, so that'd be over 2. So now look at your answer choices. Do we have a clear answer choice? It is B. All right, so your assignment for tonight is going to be 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so basically everything except for 4 and 6. How about that? Just skip 4 and 6 and do the back part. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the only thing that you are going to skip as your homework would be these two. We're going to wait on those two.